right? So we stopped at Act 3, Scene 1, and we stopped at the point or at the juncture when the conspirators, who are the conspirators? Let's recapitulate because it will be important for from a multiple choice question MCQ's point of view. Who are the conspirators? Tribunus, Casca, Decius, Brutus, Cassius, Casca. If I'm repeating anyone, pardon me. I think more or less, but yes, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Decius, Lepidus, no, not Lepidus, but Trebinus, Cinna, Popilius. Okay, no, not Popilius, but Cassius, Casca, Decius, Metellus, Trebinus definitely is there, and more or less these are our conspirators. Why did I pause and stop? And yes, it's going to be a little longer video, so buckle up and be ready because I intend to finish Act 3, Scene 1. Okay, and also not that just like that I intend to finish Act 3, Scene 1, but I also intend to tell you why is this particular scene important from our coming examination, for our coming examination, for our 2027 examination. Why is this important? Okay, so we stopped at a point, we stopped at the juncture when we have had the Brutus set, and that's an important extract. Okay, I'll also be sharing an artistry with you with certain questions with the extract so that you can practice that and be prepared with it. So it's an important extract. The extract that we stopped was when Brutus said, grant that and then there is a benefit. Grant that word, grant the fact that when Cassius says that that okay, how is it is that fact that when if someone cuts off 20 years of their life, then in a way we are cutting off the person's suffering. Why are we cutting off the person's suffering? Because that person doesn't have to spend so many years of their life anticipating death, in the fear of death, right? But here, what is the point? That when Brutus says, then death is a benefit, and death is a benefit, right? So, and then death is a benefit. So are we Caesar's friend, and we are Caesar's friend. And the next couple of lines is almost a mirror of California's dream. Is almost something that California had dreamt earlier in Act 1, or no, Act 2, had dreamt earlier in Act 2, which we discussed in my previous video. Make sure to go and watch it if you haven't watched it. It's a video, it's not a live. You'll find Act 3, Scene 2 line by line explanation. But what I've come to understand is that I'm more comfortable with our live classes, with our conversation and explanation this way. So here I'm back again. I'll be putting out certain notification, maybe 10 minutes due to taking so many conducting so many classes. So whenever I'll find time, I'll send in a notification 10 minutes prior or something. Be on the lookout, turn the notification on so that you know that I'm live and you can join me. Why? Because that will help you to interact with me and ask your doubt, ask for your explanation, and be there and understand things in a better way. Okay, and obviously board is just around the corner. It's almost, we are in the month of August. It might seem that we are in the month of August and we still have a lot of time, but if you have to prepare well, if you have to get good marks, we have to and if you have to understand the text well enough, we have to start being more serious. Okay, so we stopped at that point, that when it's almost like a mirror, it's almost like a repetition of California's dream. But what is of importance for us here is to understand. By chance, when I see they ask you that they give you this extract and they ask you that what does this reveal? What does this reveal to us about Brutus's character? What does this reveal to us about the conspirators in general? And what does this reveal to us? It reveals to us that how conspirators, or how Brutus specifically, is a believer in the ideals of republicanism. So what is the keyword here for us to understand? Ideals of republicanism. IDEALS. These are important tenets, important principles of republicanism. Right? So that's there. And why? Because Brutus says that we'll spare our the elbows. We'll smear our hands up to the elbows, and also we'll smear our swords. Then we'll walk forth to the marketplace. So again, representing the fact that Brutus is proud that he's done something of that sort. Why is he proud? Because now the ambitious debt is paid. Again, brings to mind Brutus's word in Act 1 of precisely, or Act 2, where he says that although I do not know much about what Caesar would do, but ambition is like almost Caesar is almost like a serpent unhatched, and if serpent's egg, he's a serpent's egg unhatched, and serpent's egg once hatched becomes obviously a threat. So now Brutus, at what characteristic, at what point is Brutus's character in? At what state of mind is Brutus's character in? So the state of mind that Brutus's character is in right now is that he feels that he has done what he had set out to do. He has done what he has set out to do from what notion, from which point of view? From the point of view, from the notion that being someone of noble lineage, being someone who has a noble ancestry, he could not let Rome suffer under the burden of, under the oppression of, under the yoke of, Y-O-K-E, again, yoke keyword. So again, while teaching you, I'll be saying this under the yoke of Julius Caesar's tyranny. Now he had done what is supposed to be done. Like you people, once you give your ICSE 2027, you'll feel a sense of relief. Finally, this is done. So this is the state of mind that Brutus is in right now. Okay, and he's happy because he has achieved that. He has achieved that not for himself. It's not much again an important focus on Brutus's character. So it's not that he has achieved this for himself. It is that he has achieved this for the rest of the Roman citizens, for the welfare of Roman citizens, for the betterment of Roman citizens. He has achieved that, right? And that is what is of importance here. Okay. Now we'll continue with our explanation of the next slide. So I'll just flip the camera, be with me, and then we continue. Okay. Yes. Stoop then and wash. Stoop then and wash. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted over in states unborn, accents yet unknown? So what is Cassius saying? Then let's stoop, let's bend down. Stooping means bend down, and he's saying let's wash our hands. And how many ages hence shall this our lofty scene? What is lofty? Lofty means noble, great. Be seen, be acted out. How many ages after this time shall this act of ours be acted, will be performed by other people in states unborn, lands not yet discovered, undiscovered land, and accents yet known, accent language not yet known. So what is Cassius trying to imply here? Which character element of Cassius can you comprehend here? Can you decipher? You can understand that Cassius is implying, the Cassius too is taking pride in their act, and implies that what they had done is of such great importance, is of such great significance, that not only is an act that has just started here and it will end, it will become a part of the history. And that's important. He believes that they have made history, they have done something phenomenal, they have done something great by assassinating Julius Caesar. Now, coming to Cassius's point of view, what is of importance here? That Cassius is someone who does not, what can I say? Who does not utter or says these lines out of this philanthropic spirit. Philanthropic spirit means spirit which is in the service of others, spirit which is there for others, just like Brutus. For him, assassinating Julius Caesar was a personal motive. For him, assassination of Julius Caesar was inborn, was bigoted out of his grudge for Julius Caesar's growing power. However, he feels that whatever they have done, uh, I think they have done it phenomenally, and it is actually great enough to make history. Okay, Brutus, how many times shall Caesar bleed in sport? Sport is amusement. When there this act, because it has become history, often parts of history is acted, reenacted again and again. Soon we'll have independence. They will be reenact parts of Indian independence. So they have become part of our history. So they will be enacted again and again, again and again. So that is what he says, that how many times shall Caesar bleed in sport, bleed in amusement, for the entertainment. Okay, that now on Pompey's basis lie along, basis in statue, important for MCQ point of view. Where did Caesar lie after his death? He was lying on the basis of Pompey's statue. Or he was lying on the end, at the bottom of Pompey's statue. Basis means the end of Pompey's statue, the base part, the part where the statue stands. Okay. No worthier than dust, and he has become his joint dust. He is no worthy. So all the glory, all the nobleness, all the greatness, all the grandeur. So another keyword, grandeur of Julius Caesar, Grandeur. All the grandeur of Julius Caesar has now been reduced to dust. So of the not of us, so often shall the not of us group of us. So oft as that shall be, so oft that shall be means whenever that happens, so often the not of us means group of us we will be recalled. Yeah, by called it means will be recalled, will be remembered. The men that gave their country liberty, and this is important here, because here they believe that they are the ones who by vanquishing, who by destroying, who by assassinating Julius Caesar has done what? Has given liberty to their country. So again, a reflection of the ideals of republicanism. What shall we for? Then Decius says that what shall we go for? Statues. And every man away. Yes, every man would go away. Every man away, every man go. Brutus shall lead, and we will grace his heels. Brutus shall be in front, and we will grace his heels. We'll follow him from behind with the most boldest and best hearts of Roman. You can underline that keyword. So they consider themselves as the most boldest and best hearts of Roman. And why should Brutus lead? Brutus shall lead because Brutus is the face of this assassination. Why is Brutus the face of this assassination? Because Brutus comes from a noble family. He is honorable enough that the Roman citizens might consider his honor, might consider his lineage, might consider that the fact that Brutus had participated in this assassination, then this assassination might not be just a ruthless act. It must have some value to it. Okay. Stop. Listen. Wait. Who comes here? A friend of Antony. Servant. Thus Brutus did my master bid me kneel. Now we are entering another section. So till this section we had the Roman conspirators. Yes, Roman conspirators in one way. So we had the conspirators. We saw how the conspirators carried out their act. We also saw how Julius Caesar consumed in confidence, or rather a sense of high self-esteem, rejects the plea of what is his name? Metellus rejects the plea of Metellus, is so absorbed in his own sense of self-esteem that he gets distracted enough, and then all the conspirators surrounds him, all the conspirators encircles him, conspirators encircle him, and then ultimately he's assassinated. But his last word, "Et tu, Brute," is of importance because it shows to us that how the relationship between Julius Caesar and Brutus was of, was of extreme, what could I say, profoundness, depth. It was not a shallow relationship. It was a relationship which was based on trust and faith and value. And here, when Julius Caesar, when Brutus assassinates him, Julius Caesar feels that betrayal. He feels that betrayal, and that is there. And why is this betrayal important, or why is the last words of Julius Caesar important? The last words of Julius Caesar is important because it is, Julius Caesar is dead. That's fine, but Brutus has heard this word, and somewhere deep down, this word sits inside his mind. Somewhere deep down, it makes him feel, guilty about the act that he has done, and that guilt somehow catches upon him, which we'll see later on in Act 5. Okay, now there comes a juncture where we are going to focus on the character of Mark Antony. How did Mark Antony turned out to be a really shrewd character? How did Mark Antony turn out to be a manipulator? How does Mark Antony turn out to be a skilled diplomat, not known but a well practiced, well experienced, what is his name, politician? Yes, we'll see that, because till this point, Mark Antony was not seen at the fore, in the front. Mark Antony was just at the back. But now begins the, even if Mark Antony is not physically present, but now begins the, the enactment of, or Shakespeare shows to us about how, Shakespeare shows to us how Mark Antony is, is important, and how Mark Antony changes. Now, I'll pause and discuss certain things with you, okay? Not happening. Yes. So, what is of importance, before we go into the other section, important section, what I would like to, what I would like to pay a little bit attention to is the fact that, just give me a moment. That how the conspirators, how more than conspirators, that's definitely there, but what is important for us to focus on, with reference to what we have covered so far, is the extract where you have you have Metellus Simba saying, most noble, most great, most puissant Julius Caesar. So that extract is important for us. Why? Because it is at this point that things are going to shift, or things are going to change. So when you're studying your Act 3 Scene 1, because the council has not yet given that extract did not come in the year 2025, that extract did not come in the year 2026. That's what I was checking right now. In 2025, the extract that came was Antony's speech. So what we are going to follow, or what we are going to follow as in what we are going to read about Mark Antony is important, but perhaps might not be so much important for us, because why? Because in 2025 they had already given a question on Mark Antony's speech, characteristic of Mark Antony, what does Mark Antony do to change and influence the citizens. So all of that is there. So you can definitely focus on those points in that. I'm not telling you to miss out on anything, but council has already given in 2025. They're already given this extract which focused on the different facets of Mark Antony's manipulation of the Roman citizens. So that was there in 2025. In 2026 as well, the extract that they gave was, here was, pardon me Julius, here was, this is from Act 3 Scene 1, here was thou bathed and hard. So again we see that, what can we see? Again we see that they have given a question on Mark Antony, Mark Antony's response, what does Mark Antony say, how does Brutus react to this, all of that is given. So Mark Antony, so the point where Mark Antony interacts with the Roman citizen, interacts with the conspirators, makes a request. Why is this request important? How does it lead to the change that comes on? That is given. And in 2025, what he says, the speech that he says, Romans, friends, countrymen, but friends, Romans, countrymen, Roman friends is Brutus. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me ears, I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. So that part is definitely there. But the council has not yet given a question on the most puissant, most glorious Metellus Cimbers. At least in the recent times they haven't. Most puissant, most glorious, something of that sort. Like, I'll just open my book and read that. The one that we did initially, that one. So they have not given that extract. Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar. They did give that extract in the year 2008. So again, why is that important? Why is that extract important? So when you're studying Act 3 Scene 1, why you're going to pay for a particular emphasis, particular attention to that extract? You're going to pay particular attention to that extract because that extract reveals to us, it's an extract which is at a very important point because it reveals to us how, what led to the assassination, what was the planning, who were the people who were assigned, who was supposed to play. It also shows to us that how was Caesar distracted enough by Metellus Cimber. It shows us that, and immediately after it, what follows is Caesar's response, which is important because Caesar says, or Caesar responds that how I am. Caesar says, or Caesar responds that how I am, this was stuck. So how I am not a common man, how I am an original, how I am an extraordinary person. My blood cannot be thawed, my blood cannot be melted like fool's blood. I cannot change the law and decree, law and order, rules and regulation as if it's a child's play. All of that reveals to us two things. First, how Caesar considered himself, a reflection of Caesar's character. You might be asked, is it a good evaluation? Do you think Caesar is right? Do you think Caesar is overconfident? What do you think of Caesar? So that is one point of view. It's a fecund, FECUND, fecund extract. Fecund means fertile. What do I mean by when I say it's fertile? Which means that lots of questions could come there, and it's also important because it reveals to us, that Caesar, first of all, whatever Caesar is saying is can be considered in ironic terms. Why? Because Caesar says that I could not be influenced, I cannot be changed, flattery cannot change me. But it was flattery indeed. It was Decius's flattery. You are misinterpreting the whole dream of California. That's all misinterpreted. The Roman citizens stooping their hands and smearing with your blood is a sign of respect, is a sign of honor, right? So in a way, he has managed to manipulate Caesar enough to come out of the house, to go to the Senate despite his wife warning him, right? So he has boosted, he has motivated Caesar enough that Caesar would do so. And here he's coming and saying, no, I cannot cannot be I cannot be changed, I cannot be influenced, I cannot be impacted. So that's there. So the words itself are ironic, because if he wouldn't have been impacted, he wouldn't be there in the first place. That's there. Second, a little later down the down a couple of lines, what you'll find is Caesar's long extract where he says, I'm as constant as the northern star. So where he's also talking about himself as the northern star, he's talking about himself being constant, just like the stars. As the sky is filled with unnumbered sparks, so is the world full of men. Just like all the stars share the similarity and they shine similarly, all of the men are flesh and blood, but among them there's only one who holds his rank, only one who is adamant, only one who is who is constant, and I am that person, right? And immediately this person who's so sure-footed, who's so certain, is assassinated. So council can give you questions on on the Caesar's immediate response, or they can give you the question when Brutus, who else, another question that could come is who else makes a plea. Brutus makes a plea, Cassius makes a plea, so who else makes a plea? That's there. So that is why I said it's a fecund extract, and also it's an extract that has not come in the recent years. It came in 2008. So when you're studying Act 3 Scene 1, pay particular attention to that. As I said, here my purpose here is to make things easier for you and to help you out as much as I can without any kind of artifice, without any kind of fakeness in the sense. So I will be very clear and direct with you. Why do I think this extract is important? When had it come last? Why can it come? Because of so and so points. I'm not here claiming to be some amazing astrologer or soothsayer or anything of that sort who know what is about to come. But yes, from a person who has from a person who's tutored a lot of students, is still tutoring, and from experience I can understand like that this extract has not come, this extract is important, this extract can follow so and so questions. So when you're studying your Act 3 Scene 1, make sure to pay particular focus on that extract. Okay, and now once we have done that, once that thing is now out here, it's clear. There's another extract which I would like to talk about, which is grant that and then death is a benefit. Okay, so are we Caesar's friend and we have abridged his time of fearing death. Okay, so grant that. Again, why is this important? Because it shows us first that extract was important because it was about Caesar's own nature, how the conspirators managed, who are the one who presented the plea to him. All of that was there in that extract. Most high, most loyal, most puissant, or I'm constant as constant as the northern star. So that was there. And here what do we have is that we have a reflection of the conspirators' character after the assassination of Julius Caesar. So grant that and then death is a benefit. So are we Caesar's friend and that have abridged his time of fearing death. So again, grant that, what is referred to? These are my questions, something that I have made on my own. If you be willing, then definitely I'll share and discuss it with you. Let me know in the comments so that I can do up a video or a live or something where we can have a discussion of this. Right now I'm just reading out. So who is referred to as that here? What does that make Brutus feel? What does Brutus immediately suggest? And if Brutus is immediately suggesting, what does the image brings to our mind? Again, how is it interlinked with California's dream? Because in the way the questions are given to you people, it's to make sure that you people evaluate, you people analyze, and you people remember. So all of this extracts holds question which will help you to evaluate, analyze, and remember, and hence these extracts are important. You pay particular emphasis to it, you practice them well enough, and if it comes, it's great. But now that you have someone telling you that, you'll pay particular emphasis, it will help you. Okay, and if it helps you, please, for the love of God, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share the words, share it among your classmates. It's a good deed. I'm not trying to be Brutus here, but it's a good deed. Do it so that everyone gets, I also get motivated and boosted and all of that, and we can continue on. It's a it's a work of being in a part of a community. It's a service, teacher and student service. So let's make it great and better, okay? And study hard. So we'll now go to the next juncture, which is, as I said, which is all about servant entering, and it begins. This is the point where the manipulation or the enactment of Antony's plan begins. I'll flip the screen, I'll focus on the extract, I'll explain each and every line along with the keywords, so that you people can have it inside your head. Okay. Okay. Soft who comes here, a friend of Antony. Thus Brutus did my master bid me kneel. Thus Brutus, so Brutus, my master told me to bid me kneel. Ordered. Bid means to order, instructed. The words you can use is order. The words that you can use is instructed. Instructed me to kneel. Thus did Mark Antony bid me fall down. Mark Antony told me to fall down. And being prostrate. Prostrate means lying down. And while lying down, thus he bade me say, Brutus is important for keywords. Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar was mighty, bold, royal, and loving. Say I love Brutus and I honor him. Say I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus can vouchsafe means guarantee, make sure, ensure, okay, that Antony may safely come to him, that Antony can come to him without any harm, and be resolved, be sure, be certain how Caesar hath deserved to lie in death. What is the reason behind Caesar's death? If that could happen, then, okay, let's my camera focus a little bit. Then Mark Antony shall not love Caesar. So Mark Antony will not love dead Caesar so well, so better than living Brutus. So I love Brutus, living Brutus more than dead Caesar, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus. But will follow, and I'll follow here means I will be there, I will accompany, I'll support, but will follow the, where was I? My skin is getting a bit blurred, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus through the hazards. Hazard means risk of the untrod state. Untrod means new, okay, something that has not happened before. Untrod state, unaccustomed, unfamiliar. The word you can use is unfamiliar state with all true faith. So says my master Antony, and that is what my master Antony says. Servant, I'll fetch him. I've missed Brutus. Thy master is wise and valiant, noble. You can underline that part of the keyword. I never thought him otherwise. I never thought him worse. I did not think worse of him. Tell him so please him. Tell him so please him. Tell him that as it pleases him, he may come. Tell him so please him come unto my place as he wishes is. As it may pleases him, he can come unto my place. He shall be satisfied. Satisfied means reason will be given, and by my honor depart untouched. Depart untouched, he will remain safe. He will be done. I'll fetch him presently. I know that we shall have him well to a friend. I know it's better to have him as a friend. I wish we may, but yet I have a mind. But yet I have a mind means, but yet I think that fears him much, and my misgiving still falls shrewdly to the purpose. Yet I have a mind. My mind thinks that I am suspicious of him. I am still suspicious of him, and my mind usually, whatever I think, usually turns out to be correct. Okay. Now let's have a discussion. So, what is of importance here is first, Mark Antony is not coming by himself. He has sent his servant. Why has he sent his servant? What does this reveal to us about his character? Okay, he has sent his servant because he is being a perceptive. Again, the words that you can use for Mark Antony: perceptive. He is perceptive. Repeat after me. Perceptive. P-R-C-I-P-I-T-I. I'm not even sure if P-R-C-E-P. Sorry, it's P-R-C-P-T-I-V-E. Perceptive. What does perceptive means? Perceptive means someone who can assess the situation, understand the situation, understand people really well. So Mark Antony is perceptive. He's perceptive, he's sensible, he's clever, he's cautious, he's a diplomat. All of these are adjectives that you can use while using or while writing your answers on Mark Antony. Okay. Now, so how do we know that he's perceptive? Just because ma'am is saying he's perceptive. No, he's perceptive because before coming in person, before actually coming there, he sends his servant. Okay, and when he sends his servant with the best of best words. He sent his servant with the best of best words. He sent his servant not by saying that I'm again, because he knows that being a beloved of Caesar, it's not that conspirators will think that Mark Antony is a great person, Mark Antony may not harm us. They might suspect him, as Cassius rightly says, that my mind is suspecting him. They might suspect him. So he has to make sure that he does not come under their scrutiny. He has to make sure that he convinces the conspirators enough to allow him to later make that speech in the favor of Julius Caesar, which he will do. But for that to happen, he has to convince them, and to convince them, he also has to convince Brutus, because Brutus being their leader, right? How does he do so? That is why he begins by sending his servant. Okay, when he's sending his servant, he is again not trying to say that I don't love Caesar, I don't care about Caesar, because that would portray him as someone who's being dishonest, someone who's not being honest, someone who's being disingenuous, insincere, someone who is lying. He's not saying that I don't love Caesar. Okay, what he's saying through the words, through his words, but through the mouth of his servant, is that what Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar is mighty, bold, royal, and loving. So it's not that I don't love Caesar. I value Caesar. I love Caesar. But see, Brutus is, noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Again, noble, wise, valiant, honest. Keywords that you can use for Brutus anytime, anywhere in your answer if they are asking you about the characterization of Julius Caesar. So one of the tips, okay, that is there. You can do that and get good marks. That's the way you get good marks. Okay. So he's not totally rejecting, he's not totally discarding his love for Julius Caesar. He's not doing that. Okay. Say I love Brutus and honor him. Say I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. So it is important here to understand that he doesn't deny that I did not love Caesar, I did not honor Caesar, but to also add I feared Caesar. Why? Because this sits well with the conspirators, or particularly Brutus's opinion of Caesar, that Caesar is to be feared, Caesar is an tyrant, Caesar is an oppressor, Caesar would curb the power of other people. This is what Brutus believes. Okay, and this is the reason why he assassinated Caesar, despite loving Caesar. That's his own personal struggle, right? So he's repeating that very own notion, he's repeating that exact notion, that exact idea. He's repeating that not very notion, very idea, but that exact idea. Why? Because that will in some way help him to secure his position as someone who is not trying to be, as I said, disingenuous, someone who's not trying to be dishonest, someone who's truly here. He has to convince them of his sincerity, right? And that is why he does so. Then he says, say I fear Caesar, honored him, and loved him. Brutus can vouchsafe my safety, and also he is afraid that I might get harmed. So if Brutus can make sure that I am all safe, and if he can give me the reason, again, the words he says are words which will paint him as someone who cared about Julius Caesar. It won't paint him as someone who did not care about Julius Caesar, because if he does so, then obviously the conspirators would be suspicious. As in, we already have Cassius being suspicious, but he has to convince them. More precisely, he has to convince Brutus. So that's it. Then he says what? Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead, so well as Brutus living. So because I know that my safety might not be guaranteed, I know that I might be in some kind of danger, because Caesar has been killed, so I might be the next. So I will support he's being, he's being blatant, or he's being direct about the fact that I'm going to support Brutus because I know that my life could be in threat, my life could be in danger. So it's not, again, by, his way of manipulating, or his way of convincing the conspirators is by, is by trying to be very sincere, is trying to be quite sincere, is trying to be, as a real, REAL, not REEL, as real as he could be, as sincere as he could be. Why? So the conspirators will think that no, this is a man who's right. Yes, this is how a person should respond. This is how beloved of Caesar should respond, and that is how he's doing. That's the mask he's putting on, right? So well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortune and affairs of nobles. I'll support Brutus, I'll become a supporter of Brutus, and so says my master Antony. And then on listening to it, what is the impact on Brutus? Brutus says thy master is wise and valiant Roman. Again, wise and valiant Roman. You can put that, use it as a keyword later in other answers with reference to Mark Antony. Tell him so, please him come on to this place, he shall be satisfied, and my honor, and by my honor shall depart untouched. And I give my word that he'll remain safe, he'll depart untouched, he'll depart unharmed, he can go away without being harmed. I'll fetch him presently. I know that we shall have him well to a friend. So he thinks, yes. So again, what is this reflection of Mark Antony, but also reflection of Brutus's character? How Brutus himself is a person who is quite, simple-minded. He's very simple-minded. He does not, as I said, Brutus, all in all, Brutus wished to be a peasant. He's quite earlier in the scene. He said, no, I would rather be a peasant. I'd rather be a common folk. He is that. He's not fit to be a politician. He's not fit to be a diplomat. He's not, because often he does not see the layers. Okay, what he sees is what a person presents, because he himself is like that, and that is what makes his character the best. Okay, later I think Mark Antony will say that no one else was the nature so well maintained, so well balanced as it was in Brutus. Okay, now we'll stop here. Please do like, watch, share, comment, subscribe if it's any, because I'm trying my best to help you people out. So please do so, do the needful. Why? Because it basically motivates me. I know that someone is out there. I know it's helping someone. I'm not here blabbering out like any other person out there on this planet. Okay. Yeah, and as I said, I had promised you that I'll share that extract with you, the question and the answers. If you want, please do reach out, please do comment, so that I'll let you know, so that it will help you. I've also explained to you which two extracts. One we can have a discussion on if you people are willing, and the other one, which I said, most prescient, most high, most noble, that also we can have a discussion on. Till then, take care, study hard, study well, read well. If you have any doubt, reach out. Have a great evening. Bye bye. Take care. All the best.